What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zamboni. I am an herbalist and astrologer here in New York City, and it is time for me to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. So do make sure to follow me here on Instagram, and make sure and check out my Patreon as well. I do a lot of these forecasts. I do a daily forecast and a weekly forecast, and then here on Instagram, and then on Patreon I do a lot with sort of astro basics on how to understand astrology better for your own, just so you can understand the forecasts and the horoscopes and stuff like that a little better, and also some practical enchantment stuff. So make sure and check me out there so we can dig into the fun stuff. But so let's talk about the week ahead. So this week we've got some, so last week was Mars week, right? It was like all fire all the time. Mars was up in everybody's piece. Mars was squaring Pluto for a lot of it, and that's a major deal. That's kind of the beginning of the Mars squares that we're just going to have for the rest of the year, more or less. And so that was what was going on. And then the sun is moving into a trine to that. And so that trine is actually going to perfect tomorrow. What's interesting about this trine is that the sun in Leo and Mars in Aries, these are two fire signs, right? Two fire planets in fire signs doing fire things. Fire, 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 whoo, 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 blowing stuff up, right? Big time. And so we can see that that's been going on all week, and that's going to perfect this week. And then what's also going to happen at the same time is Mercury is going to conjoin the sun at the very same moment that Mars is trine to the sun. So so everybody is going to be sort of working together here. Now, this is a very good time for kind of being self-actualized or moving towards self-actualization, and doing things of your own accord. Personal agency is going to be a real big deal here. So the sun is the sovereign individual, right? And this is going to be boosted by the powers of Mars. Mars in Aries especially I like to think about Mars in Aries as wielding an axe, and often this axe will cut the umbilical cord, right? It's very strongly trying to be independent and trying to do its own thing, right? So this is going to be strongly empowering to the sun in Leo, who is a strong personal sovereign, right? And then we put Mercury there with it as well, and there's an element of truth that shows up here, or expressing one's own truth or one's own virtue, that shows up here as doing the thing. Now, so I've mentioned before that Mars and the sun together, they sort of represent an emergent challenger, right? To the status quo, or to the thing that had been happening for a while. Someone who is going to sort of like fight against the powers that already are, the structures, the infrastructure, all the stuff that is sort of solid and stagnant and static and not moving, the old stuff. We've seen a lot of this sort of stuff with Saturn, Pluto, South Node recently. It's been a lot of like, sort of the decay of the old thing has been, sort of coming out to light a lot. And so we're going to see our challenger here really starting to exploit that and, fight against the, Saturnian, Capricorn situation, which is going to represent the old stuff, right? And so I've mentioned this challenger a time or two. And so this is kind of the peak of that challenge. The challenger really like gets a moment here, with everybody in this like nice trine. This is kind of the strongest that our challenger really gets. This is the most fire energy. This is the most like, there's a lot of drive and a lot of push here. At the same time, the moon is waning down. There's just like very little light here. So this is very good for diminishing things. Diminishing light is very good for cutting things off, stopping things. I think that this is likely to be very, liberation and independence focused. And so we will likely see this in our own lives, and it's likely that, there are some old patterns or old behaviors that are, dying hard. And, so it's going to be time to sort of like show up and be ready to cut some stuff off. And this is a moment to sort of like push that forward and decide to do that. While the moon is just like really waning and losing light. then this can be a good time to like finish things or dispose of things. And then sort of like charge on to your own sovereign destiny, right? It doesn't mean that there aren't challenges ahead, because there certainly are, but that is probably how things are going to want to move this week, is going to be moving toward that independence. So that's going to happen tomorrow. That happens on Monday. Then what's going to happen after that is the moon is waning down to nothing and is going to get completely dark, and it's going to conjoin the sun the next day. And so the sun, this is a new moon in Leo. And so new moon, this is kind of a regular new moon. We've had a lot of lunation recently, lunation being full moon or new moon. We've had a lot of these that have been like square to Mars, or the most recent one was square to Uranus. And it's been a lot of that. And before that it was eclipses, which were also square to malefics. It was just like a lot, you know? And so this is really, it's just a new moon, just a new moon hanging out, you know? So I really like this new moon for the normalcy of it, honestly, because things have been so wild and crazy this year. So, you know, this again is going to be in the sign of the sun. And so we're, doing sun things. So think about sovereignty. Think about like, you know, doing your thing brilliantly and greatly. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, right? The new moon wants to plant a seed. So plant a seed where you end up shining, thriving, radiating the true beauty that you are in the way that the sun does, right? This is a good time to start that kind of thing. So that's going to happen, at the beginning of the week. And then, I'm not done yet. There's more to talk about this week. It's so busy that a lot is going to go on. So Mercury at this moment, so when Mercury is cazimi with the sun, that means that Mercury is heading very quickly. This is Mercury at top speed. So we're getting Mercury doing 2 degrees a day at this point. So Mercury is going to enter Virgo pretty quickly after that. Mercury is going to go into Virgo on Thursday, I think. And, so Mercury in Virgo is, in its rulership and exaltation. So this is a much more comfortable Mercury than we have seen in a long time. We had Mercury retrograde in Cancer. Then when we finally had Mercury in Leo, then it was like combust the sun and everything. And so this is still actually going to be combust the sun, but at least it is in its own sign. It's in its exaltation. This is a Mercury that knows how to get Mercury shit done. So this is going to be like the end of the week. This is a good time to do your Mercury things. This is a good time to maybe send a package or communicate something or make intelligible some information that, like, if you've got a large amount of information and you want to sort of like segment it into intelligible pieces, this is going to be a really good time to do that, especially at the beginning of this Mercury and Virgo situation. What's going to happen a little later is Mercury is going to oppose Neptune in Pisces. And so that's going to be a little confusing. It's going to sort of like poison some of our like clean, dry, you know, taxonomical Mercury in Virgo. And it's gonna make that kind of stuff sort of difficult. But we're not into that yet. This is like this week, the end of this week after Thursday, like this is prime time. This is good Mercury. You can get a lot done with this kind of Mercury. And, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to, get a lot of things done. I've got things planned already for this time period. And then a little bit later, the sun is going to enter Virgo as well. So we're wrapping up Leo season and it is Virgo time. So shouts out to all my Virgo people out there. I know and love you. You are very beautiful people. They're striving humbly in the background many times and throwing lots of shade for all of the bullshit mistakes that are going on around you. I see you, boo, and I appreciate you. So this is the main stuff that's going to be going on this week. There's so much going on this week. It's a very exciting week. Be sure to follow me on Instagram where I write daily. And so to get the kind of play-by-play as we're working through the week, I also upload some nice images of artwork that I see around New York City as well. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for this little bit. Make sure and check me out on Instagram. Check me out on Patreon. Thank you so much to everybody who came out to the Fresh Voices Summit and listened to me speak yesterday. Thank you so much. That was so much fun. It was a great time. And you can catch the replay at I think it's freshvoices.com. The link is in my bio. And then you can, and there's an all access pass which will give you lifetime access to all the speakers talks. There's some really great speakers are up this weekend, and so it's super great. I'm very excited to have participated. Thank you so much if you came out. Thank you so much if you're going to check the replay now. The replay of my talk is also going to be available on Patreon, so you'll be able to find that in all of those places. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I will see y'all next week. Thanks. Bye.